Black people will find fault in everything and then say they love themselves. Hey, I want to build a business. Well, why the hell you want to do that? You can't be pro-black and anti-success. Most of us act like if we're successful, you think you too good. You put ing on the end of your words. You talk like white people. Wait, what? Starting a business should not be something that's hard for you, even if you need to scale your business. Do me a favor right now. Shoot me a DM on Instagram with the word coach at TheBusinessBully, and we'll see what we can make happen for you. Black people don't love themselves. Full stop. We just don't love ourselves. And we got to stop acting like we do when our actions clearly show that we don't. If we loved ourselves, we'd have standards, not just survival tactics. A lot of times we have got ourselves to a point where we're accepting breadcrumbs from preachers and politicians and performers, and we have not really gotten our fair shake off of our skills, gifts, talent, and labor. We continue to uplift and hold high nonsense, ratchetry, bad behavior, immoral things, and can't figure out why we can't move forward or why we aren't taken seriously. The other part of that is we keep asking and begging and pleading like some puppy dog outside of a restaurant for scraps. Why are we asking for scraps? When we build everybody else's table, we fill that table with food and money and resources, but we don't take care of ourselves at all. A lot of these politicians, these pulpit pimps, these performers, comedians, rappers, actors, athletes, all of them, the politicians too, have smiled in your face while they allowed you to starve. And we keep looking to them as something to aspire to. Oh, and the truth of the matter is we need to start looking to us and how we used to operate as something to aspire back to, which means keeping our families together, which means doing things that are above board, doing things that are centered in things that move our people forward, not hold our people back. You can't say you love blackness and then kill it actually, spiritually, and culturally. What do I mean? We kill each other in record numbers all the time. Not saying that police brutality does not happen. Not saying that we aren't victims of other people unaliving us, but the truth of the matter is we are the ones doing most of the harm to ourselves. We wouldn't glorify death in our music. We wouldn't glorify disrespect to our women. We wouldn't glorify a thug lifestyle. We wouldn't glorify criminal activity as some type of rite of passage or some type of universal truth of manhood when it isn't. We wouldn't let our neighborhoods rot, all while begging for white billionaires and millionaires to come save us from ourselves. Then get mad when white billionaires and millionaires come into our communities and gentrify the hell out of them, when we could take our money and gentrify our own communities. And then when somebody does, whether that's a Slim Thug or any other particular athlete or actor or entertainer, and they buy up a block, then it becomes, well, what they doing that for? It's like, you don't want us to win. You say you do, but I don't even know if you know what it would look like if we actually got there. Because when people start saying, hey, we need to do this, well, that's easy for you to say, and everybody can't be an entrepreneur. Well, it's real nice to sit in the comments and talk about nonsensical BS that does not really amount to a warm bucket of hamster vomit. But the truth of the matter is we don't love ourselves. And anytime one of us does something that's outside of the norm, you start to do this thing where you knock it, you question it, you can't believe it. Then when one of us questions those that you exalt or put in power, you say, oh, well, look at you, you tearing somebody down. How am I tearing you down? By pointing out statistical facts? Oh, that's right, because you'll allow your feelings to get in the way of actionable, actual, factual information. You can't be pro-black and anti-success. Most of us act like if we're successful, you think you too good. You put ing on the end of your words. You talk like white people. Wait, what? Some of the most guttural, nasty, backwoods, tar spitting sounds I've ever heard has come from ignorant white people. All white people do not speak the King's English, and speaking the King's English is not necessarily indicative of education or success. What is indicative of education and success is how you're doing financially, how you're doing physically, how you're doing emotionally, and how you're doing in the grand scheme of things when placed up against other groups of people who are quote unquote disparaged or are doing well and thriving. But whenever one of us comes along and says, hey, we should get together and we should collaborate. Oh, I don't want to do that. This person will take all the credit and it's all about them and their ego. And you think you this and you think you that. No. You have a problem with success because when you see somebody being successful at something that you wouldn't dare to dream to do for yourself, you automatically put it in a bad category because it reminds you about how short you have fallen, how quickly you gave up on your dreams, how hard it was for you to try and pursue something and you failed at it. So you'd rather sit back in your cubicle and critique with your thumbs. You can't talk about success. You can't talk about loving yourself and you don't love your women, you don't love your men, you don't love your children, you don't love your families. We've got to start putting up barricades and barriers, and we need to build a wall. Not a physical wall, but a metaphorical wall around our culture. We need to start gatekeeping our culture in every way that matters. It is there and only there that we'll really begin to love ourselves. When we're able to contain ourselves in a way that builds camaraderie and builds collaboration, we'll be able to make phenomenal moves. Black people will find fault in everything and then say they love themselves. Hey, I want to build a business. Well, why the hell you want to do that? Somebody already did that. I will give you an example. So a few months ago, Roland Martin put out this podcast. I don't know what you call what Roland Martin does, but he was on YouTube and he was Tubi's getting all this money, and then look, Tubi, they're owned by Fox, and then Fox takes that money and then they put it into all these other things, but then the black people, and then they move away from black people, and this, that, and the third. So I said to Roland Martin very directly, hey, then since you have your Black Star Network, which is designed to confuse people into thinking it's somehow tied to BET, you think you slick, even the logo looks like the old BET logo, but I digress. I said, why don't you create an entertainment arm since your Black Star Network is doing so well? Why would I do that? That doesn't even make any sense. You don't offer an alternative. You just offer a critique. That doesn't make any sense. And that's the other thing. Y'all love finding fault. And when somebody points out that things are not going where they need to go, then your go-to, your deflection is, oh, what's the solution? And I've already told you what the solution was. Be black, build black, buy black, repeat. It's that simple. Meaning everything you do should be centered in your blackness first. Black people first. If you truly love yourself, you would put yourself first. Putting yourself first is not being selfish, it's being self-aware, right? Building black means that you build community, you build businesses, and you build an economy with your own people. Nobody has to tell Asian people to do this. Nobody has to tell white Anglo-Saxon Protestants to do this. Nobody has to tell Jewish people or Catholics or Asian people to do this. We don't have to tell anybody to do this but black people. That in and of itself doesn't make any sense. Buy black. You will cry over and over again. Well, that's why I can't support black businesses, because black business is too expensive. We're too expensive because you don't spend time patronizing us. If you patronized us the same way you patronize Gucci or Nike or Polo, then that in and of itself would be a thing. And then you got to stop renting pride for 28 days. And this is what I mean. A lot of times we get this black people swell around January 31st, and then it wraps up on March 1st. I'm talking about Black History Month. I don't know if you know this or not, but American history is Black history, and you should be celebrating Black history every day. You should not be waiting for somebody to teach your kid what you should be teaching your kid. I don't know anybody else who waits for somebody else to do our job for us more than black people do.